When did you start your roofing business? I know you've been in roofing for a good while. What was the biggest challenge when you did?
Really kind of the biggest challenge that I had to overcome personally was that I was a very non-confrontational person, very non-assertive whatsoever. And, in sales, you can't really be that way. You can't really do that. So
Do you think that someone can be introverted but still be good at sales?
definitely. I actually think that they have the potential to be better than an extrovert. And the reason being is that the changes that I've seen, everything's gone to technology. It's gone to AI, it's gone to automated systems, it's gone to all of these things. The things that people did 10 years ago that didn't work, the door knocking, putting signs out in places, things like that, it's actually starting to work again. And the reason being is, like I said, people want authenticity. Everyone is automated now. Everyone is using AI. Everyone is doing these things. If you do what everyone else does, you're not going to stand out. I used to be somebody that was desperate for a sale. You can smell desperation a mile away. Like someone comes up and when you're in that spot, you don't even see it. It kind of takes you reflecting and being honest with yourself. But people don't like to be pushed.
So when you walk up to a house and let's say you knock on that door, they open up, what's the first, the approach mechanism in that interaction?
The first thing that you need to do is kind of started to notice the sales guys, the way they spoke and how much they made. And I've always been kind of a quiet, reserved person, but I thought, that's something that I can do too. Jumped into it. That's kind of how I got started in the industry.
Hello and welcome to the Roofing and Home Services Industry Podcast. Today I have Tanner Fott from Armortex Roofs up in the North Dallas, Texas area. Tanner, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to talk about our company.
Awesome. Tanner, let's start with how did you personally get into roofing and construction? Out of all these other industries, why did you choose roofing?
At the time, I was actually going through the fire academy. I was 20 years old and my mom had married a roofer. He owned his own company. He would kind of throw me some errands here and there to run for him. Mostly centered around job site, getting materials, going and checking on the crews, kind of doing the stuff that his sales guys didn't want to do. A decent amount for how old I was. And then I kind of started to notice the sales guys, the way they spoke and how much they made. And I've always been kind of a quiet, reserved person, but I thought, that's something that I can do too. Jumped into it. That's kind of how I got started in the industry.
So you just kind of got trained within the family. That's not always the case. So you somewhat of an, unfair advantage, should I say?
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of think that was a God thing. And the reason why I say that is that I really don't know where that man is now. That relationship didn't work out. Definitely a God thing that I met him and our paths crossed. I'm definitely grateful for that opportunity that he gave me.
Awesome. So when did you start your roofing business? I know you've been in roofing for a good while. When did you start? What was the biggest challenge when you did?
I started in this industry in 2014. It was like early 2014. Really kind of the biggest challenge that I had to overcome personally was that I was a very non-confrontational person, very non-assertive whatsoever. And, in sales, you can't really be that way. You can't really do that. So that was really kind of the biggest challenge that I faced. I've definitely found a way to balance the assertiveness with the attention to detail and the care that's needed. I think that with what I know now, I think that we're definitely able to offer our customers the best service out of anyone out there.
That brings me to my next question, which I feel like kind of aligns with what you just said. Roofing is a massive industry. Even like the Dallas, Texas area, someone told me that there's 20,000 roofers. I don't know if it's true in that area. Being in the competitive, a lot of roofing companies, super saturated. How do you differentiate yourself? What do you want to be known for?
Honesty. That's really what separates us from the competition. I used to spend hours trying to figure out what's my advantage. Is it free maintenance, free inspections? Is it the warranties? Is it the product? And really when it comes down to it, we're in a time where people are sick of BS. They want somebody that's honest, that's not going to lead them by their nose. And that's exactly what we bring to the table. We're transparent. Customer knows everything that we're doing. We're honest every step of the way. We're looking out for them in every step of the process.
All right, let's go back to when you started. And when you did, what was kind of the strategy or the approach that you took to get your first few clients? For anyone that's watching this and trying to look into or break into the roofing industry, would you like to share secret sauce, if you will, when you got started?
For sure, yeah. Really, the biggest way that I got business when I first started was really just treating people right. Word of mouth and developing relationships within the community. That's something that is really kind of a lost art today. There's a lot of, it's difficult today with the Ring doorbells and all of those different things. It can still be done. And I think that a lot of roofing companies overlook the power that canvassing holds.
Because you've been in the industry for over 10 years now, it's more than a decade. So door knocking, I still feel is an art. And I have clients, I know people that still do door knocking and do tons revenue, generate tons of revenue from it. So what are your, let's say, two main pieces of advice for anyone that's door knocking? Because I mean, it can be quite nerve wracking, I guess, for someone that just started. You're just walking up to people's homes expecting them to open and do business with you. I guess let's start with what makes someone a bad door knock and a good one. So let's start with that.
Yeah, so and I say this because I've been there. I used to be somebody that was desperate for a sale. And you can smell desperation a mile away. Like someone comes up and when you're in that spot, you don't even see it. It kind of takes you reflecting and being honest with yourself. But people don't like to be pushed. And that's just not what we're designed to do. We're not designed to push people. So I would definitely say that, yeah, you may get some sales being aggressive like that, but what you're actually causing is kind of a trauma response in that homeowner or that customer. They may initially be okay with it, but they're going to wake up to you pressuring them and they're going to be really angry later. It's just better to do it the right way from the beginning.
So when you walk up to a house and let's say you knock on that door, they open up, what's the first thing that you would say to them in your words? Like what's the first, I guess, the approach mechanism in that interaction?
The first thing that you need to do is establish the fact that you're not there to sell them anything. So you walk up, for me, hey, I'm Tanner. We're in the neighborhood working with some of your neighbors. Notice some damage to some of their roofs. I'm not here to sell you anything. And then you have to have some kind of enticing offer, something that you're giving them without expecting anything in return. For example, what I do is I offer free preventative maintenance. And I do that. I genuinely don't expect anything in return. And when you genuinely don't expect anything in return, people pick up on that and they're more receptive and they're more willing to say yes. Basically, if you help people get what they want.
That's beautiful. Even that, because I haven't, like most people just do, I mean, a free inspection, but like everybody does a free inspection. So how does that differentiate you against others? Like you said, with the Ring doorbell has gotten a little bit complicated, but I mean, people still answer their doors. I think it's instinctive to answer your door just because like, oh, let me see who, because nobody really knocks anymore except for people that you don't know. Because anyone that's a known friend or family member, you already know that they're coming. I don't know. I like to answer the door even when I'm in a meeting. That's just me, I guess. The next question I have is, been in the industry for over a decade. I'm sure you've seen a change. 10 years is, I mean, technology changes so quickly, so rapidly. What are maybe one or two changes that you have noticed that have really changed the way you approach roofing than you did like 10 or 12 years ago?
Yeah, definitely. This may be a little bit different from what you normally hear. The changes that I've seen, everything's gone to technology. It's gone to AI, it's gone to automated systems, it's gone to all of these things. And we've kind of lost touch with people. Actually, the things that people did 10 years ago that didn't work, the door knocking, putting signs out in places, things like that, it's actually starting to work again. And the reason being is, like I said, people want authenticity. Everyone is automated now. Everyone is using AI. Everyone is doing these things. If you do what everyone else does, you're not going to stand out.
Whenever I talk to someone, because I mean, we obviously do everything inbound. We work with roofing companies, we build websites, we do SEO and paid ads and Facebook and all these other things. But like I always tell my clients that, hey, if you are doing something and it's working for you, like door knocking or putting signs out or doing mailers, basically outbound ways of getting folks into your system, into your CRM, become a lead, keep doing that. Don't stop, because that's already working for you. You'll just address bigger portion of the market by getting leads inbound fashion. Just because you're doing digital doesn't mean that you stop doing the offline things, or you just do the offline things and not do the digital. If that's what works for you and you don't want to work on your digital, that's fine. But yeah, absolutely, the offline marketing is super key, and I am a big supporter of it, even though everything that we do is digital, because it works great. I've seen companies do 10, 15, 20, 30 million in revenue just off of door knocking. They have an aggressive sales team. They have a lot of door door knockers. They train their people well. Some of these guys don't even have a great website. Incredible. Like you're making that kind of cheese and you're not even investing in that. So 100%, I agree with you on this. So now you've been in the industry for a while. You started your own business after being in the industry for a little while, for a long time. What keeps you motivated? And don't say it's my family, because I mean, obviously we all got families, we got kids to feed. Now you got a fourth child that just was born yesterday. Congratulations. But what else? I mean, wakes you up at night. Why roofing? What really gets you going? Like what gets your juices flowing? And you can't use the family reason. Just making it hard for you.
Really, what keeps me going, and this is something that I've realized pretty recently. There was a point where roofers, we face a lot of rejection. We face a lot of negativity. We face a lot of just basically being treated like criminals. Over time, that takes a toll on you. And, I always, for a while there, I was like, I'm in the wrong industry. I don't belong in this industry. But I realized something, kind of had a renewal of faith here recent. My faith tells me that we're called to be disciples and we're called to call others to follow Jesus as well. And really with this operation and with door knocking, I'm not like pushing it down their throats or anything, like not even saying anything about it. What I'm doing is I'm showing them the joy that I found. I'm showing them freedom that I found. I'm doing it just enough to get them to ask, what's going on with this guy? By doing that, it opens up the door for them to find the same Christ that I did.
I think you really said this very eloquently and super simply, because from what I understand from this is that just by being you, being genuine, and I had similar type of, I guess, reservations when I started, like, oh, should I be funny? Should I be this? What if people think of me this way? Or what if I do this? People don't are not receptive to it. But as long as you are you, of how, let's say, God created you or predestined to be, if you're that person and not trying to be someone based on what you've seen work for someone else, you are just you. You are individually unique. Your identity is super specialized, I guess. As long as you're that person, then people really do respond to it because it feels real. Even with all the AI and automation stuff that we also do, I think just being who you are makes a hell lot of difference in this world. You've said it. You put it really nicely. Appreciate that. So I guess your leads come from mostly outbound currently. Is that how you would put it? Like door knocking, sign, or do you get some inbound as well?
Currently, most of our business is coming in from telemarketing, signs, word of mouth. The thing is that we haven't really even started building the inbound network. For instance, Google ads and things of that nature. And really with how we're doing this, once we do establish that, the leads that we get in, it's going to be a pretty big volume. We're kind of growing it, I guess, backwards from how most people do it. We're kind of trying to build that word of mouth reputation first, then build that online presence kind of whenever that word of mouth reputation is there.
I don't think that's a bad way to go, because when I started my business, I actually built the systems, hyped the systems, the strategies, the foundation of how to serve your client before I went after clients. Because, okay, you have all these leads, your clients, but you don't actually have a way to service them. So I think that's also important as much as getting business is important. So, I mean, that's not a bad way. You're building up that reputation because as you're doing that, you have something to show for. Roofs that you've built, you have problems that you've solved, you have homeowners that you've talked to. That's experience that you can now funnel into your digital strategy, because you're going to need that. You're going to need pictures, videos. If you want to super hyper customize your brand, your story, you against the competition, because anybody can build a website. The reason why I say this is because when we build websites for roofers, we build it so that it looks just like them, so it doesn't match any other roofing websites on the internet. There's not even the layout matches. Everything is different. It's important because in a saturated market with thousands, not even like it's in the thousands, and that's just North Texas, should I say, because we have a decent amount of presence there. Think about being a website in the ocean of website in the entire country of roofers, and how are you different? You're just the same, right? From this, we'll move into the rapid fire round, which is actually a fun round. There's no right or wrong answers, but you can either pick one answer or both or none. So here goes. Rapid fire. Early mornings or late nights?
Early morning.
So you're a morning person. Field work or office work? What's that?
I didn't used to be, but I am now.
Well, hey, but if you're a roofer, you got to be an early morning person. There's not really a question to that. Field work or office work?
Say field work.
Do you like being out on the field? This one's kind of tricky. Sales or operations?
I would say sales now. Not for the fact of selling, but just dealing with people and working with them.
I used to hate sales until I realized like that is is kind of a skill, like a life skill that you have to have no matter what. And I feel like I need to instill that in my children, because if you are good at sales, not just like the act of selling, but being within people and understanding their needs, being of service, because that's what we're here on this earth for, is to be of service to other people. That is just the best skill set that anyone can have, I think. Sets you up for life pretty much.
I agree with that. I had a mentor growing up that told me, like, if you get an opportunity to get into sales, you need to take it. And I was a super quiet kid. I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Now I understand why he said that, because it really does open up a lot of doors once you really discover how to genuinely help.
Do you think that someone can be introverted but still be good at sales?
Definitely. I actually think that they have the potential to be better than an extrovert. And the reason being is that as an introvert, you kind of force yourself to listen. You're not saying anything, you're just listening. And you don't sell with your mouth, you sell with your ears. It's all about listening to them and understanding what they need and then formulating a solution to match that. It's not jumping ahead of them or anything like that. It's letting them speak, figuring out what they need, coming in with the solution.
Oh, absolutely. Love that. You sell with your ears. You sell by listening, not by talking. Oh, that's so wonderful. I will use that someday. From the great Tanner Pot. Tools or experience?
Experience.
Okay, so if you were to hire someone, maybe a salesperson or a crew member, didn't have experience, had the hunger to learn, would you hire them and why?
And the reason being is that you can't teach hunger. You can't train someone to be hungry, no matter how hard you try. And in the roles that I've had in the past, I actually used to be a team lead at the company that I first worked for. Eventually, I worked my way up to being a team lead, and I trained sales guys. The one thing that I noticed over and over again, motivation is huge. That's probably the biggest proponent in hiring, is because you can hire someone that's skilled, that has all of the knowledge in the world. They're not motivated, they aren't going to do anything. I would actually argue that motivation, hunger is probably the number one key thing that you should look for in a salesperson.
Yeah, you can't make someone hungry unless they are hungry, unless they're motivated. I think it's kind of in someone or it's not in them. Or to build that innate in a person. Two more. These are going to be so easy. Traditional marketing or digital marketing?
Traditional.
Referrals or paid leads?
Referrals.
Roofers love referrals. So I'll tell you something interesting. So we have a system that generates referrals of every single lead or every single customer that gets closed, because we remind them to send over a referral via text messages and emails. And then what happens after is that if they do send the referral through, we incentivize them in some way that, hey, if you do give us this referral, or if you let us know of a friend or family member and they get some work done on their roof, then we'll give you a gift card or whatever, right? You can also integrate your referrals into an automation, because obviously you can ask on the spot when you're closing the job or when you're done with the job. A lot of times what happens is, Tanner, is that person that you're asking the referral for, they may, one, not have the referral for you at that point in time. They may be busy, may not be ready. They may not know someone that needs it right then and there. We keep a sequence of weeks, months, and that individual will eventually come through, because by that time they would have come to think of someone that needs the service. So you can automate that. So I'm going to say referrals with some tech automation can sweeten the pot. Hardest lesson, people or processes?
Like, which one of those is the hardest lesson?
The hardest lessons that you have learned, from people or process.
I would say the hardest lesson that I've learned is to not let people define who you are. Kind of like what we talked about earlier with authenticity. If you let people define who you are, whether it's competition, whether it's your customers, you're not actually going to serve them with authenticity. I would definitely say that that's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned.
This is a fun one, and we'll kind of end with this and a couple other questions. What is your favorite downtime after a long week?
I know you said I couldn't say the family, but my favorite downtime.
Tanner doesn't have downtime. He works all the time. Isn't that what the wife said?
I am a busy guy, but any time that I get to spend with my family, it's amazing. It's a blessing from God.
Oh, absolutely. Family time, the best. There are no beaches in Dallas. It's far. Yeah, because Houston has Galveston.
Yeah, Galveston, that's probably the closest.
What advice would you have to someone that's either starting their roofing business or thinking about starting their roofing business? They may be starting it anywhere in the country. I know Texas is a great market, but at the same time a competitive one. Too many roofers, holy shit. Any words of advice from the experienced veteran?
The biggest thing is prepare. Don't spend too much time preparing that you fail to take action. I used to be a perfectionist. Like, everything had to be perfect before I did anything. And if it wasn't, I would freak out. In business, you can't do that. You got to get a plan together. I'm not saying go into it blind. You got to get a plan together, and you need to make sure that you're doing it for the right reason. But once you establish that, it's time to go. You don't really have time to sit there and think like, oh, I need to tweak this or I need to tweak that. If it's good and if it's rooted in truth, like just go for it.
Over preparation is what the killer of outcomes, they say. You're never going to just start somewhere. Where do you see yourself in, let's say, 2 to 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Really, where I want Armortex to be is I want it to be a leader in the roofing industry in Texas. I want it to lead the way in how people need to be treated and kind of lead the way in kind of combating against some of these high pressure sales tactics and some of these things that the consumers would be taken advantage of over and over again. I think that we hold a lot of power as far as being able to change that with how we operate.
That's a really noble mission. I hope you get there. And Tanner, where can people find you online, your website, any social media handles? If you could say that, we'll put that in the description of the YouTube.
You can check us out on Facebook. We're Armortex Roofs, or you can go directly to our website, armortexroofs.com. Still working on both. Very excited for the future.
We'll definitely share those links. Well, Tanner, thank you. This has been a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. Hope to have you in another episode someday. But thanks for your time and good luck, everyone watching. Thanks for tuning in to the Roofing and Home Services Industry Podcast. This is Nazar, your host, the roofing marketer. I had with us Tanner Fott from Armortex Roofs. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having me on.